Hey guys, hope you're having an amazing day today. My name is Steve. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to Against the Loch, Ross Edgley's most dangerous challenge so far. This guy is going to try to swim across Loch Ness. Now, I don't know exactly how large Loch Ness is, but I do know that it is a very large body of water. Just seems crazy. I can't imagine someone actually doing that. Not only because of the sheer size of Loch Ness, but also because I'm guessing the water temperature is probably going to be a little bit lower in that lake. I'm not exactly sure what the temperature would be, but considering it is in Scotland, I'm guessing that's not going to be an extremely warm body of water. Please let me know in the comments, guys, what the average temperature would probably be in Loch Ness. This is the first I've ever seen Ross Edgley. Turns out he is a famous British athlete, and he seems to be well known for his kind of intense challenges, such as this. The description says, no breaks, no sleep, no land for as long as possible. That's crazy. You know, that's just intense. Athlete Ross Edgley attempts his wildest challenge yet, the world's longest open water nonstop swim. He'll either make it or almost die trying. Dude, this should be crazy, man. I did maybe, I don't know when it was, maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago. I don't remember exactly. I did a reaction to people swimming the English Channel, and I thought that was insane. I had never seen people try to swim such long distances like that, out in open water like that. It's just, that was the first I've ever seen anything quite like that. And this kind of gives me similar vibes, but I know this is quite different because, like I said, this seems to be, what did it say? It said it was the longest, what did it say? The world's longest open water nonstop swim. So this is even longer than the English Channel, which I thought that was crazy. So I'm really excited to see what happens here. Anyways, guys, enough rambling from me. Let's go ahead and dive in and check out Against the Loch, Ross Edgley's most dangerous challenge so far.
But no one's forcing Ross to do this. He's willingly doing this, and I just think that is just bonkers.
We're in a bit of a weird.
Yeah.
He's in like a mental, slightly mental death spiral at the moment that we're trying to talk him out of.
It's no longer a swim, it's a war of attrition.
That's crazy, dude.
Realised yet that he just needs.
Growing up, my dad used to always tell me stories of the heroic age of Antarctic exploration, the race to the South Pole. Every footstep was just into the unknown. A part of me just has really been inspired by that. Currently, records for long distance swimming, you're looking at around 160 kilometers. Beyond that, every single stroke is just taking you into the unknown.
160
When
kilometers?
you're swimming up to those dark waters, people get scared, people
That's
get cold,
crazy.
people get tired. You know, people like Ross just keep going. They don't really care. And it's almost like you need to achieve this in your life or else life isn't worth living.
Wow.
So it's been 4 years now since I swam around Great Britain, and I'm not gonna say that I retired from ultra distance swimming, but I kind of semi-temporarily hung up my goggles just because it didn't feel right to continue to swim purely for records.
This must be the guy that people were telling me to check out when I watched the English channel swim video. They said some guy swam all the way around Great Britain, and I'm like, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. So are you telling me if you swim across the Loch Ness, that somehow, is he swimming around it? How is that going to be the longest open water swim if he's already done the swim around Great Britain?
And there's just been certain people that have completely redefined what we thought the human body was capable of. So Roger Bannister, 4-minute mile, Kipchoge more recently, the 2-hour marathon. Yeah, a very good friend of mine, Eddie Hall, the 500 kilo deadlift. People just didn't think it was possible. And in my small niche area that is floating and eating lots, I would love to see just how far we humans can actually go.
Dude, this guy does not look like the typical swimmer. The typical swimmer usually is thinner and stuff. This guy's actually got quite a bit of weight on his body. I mean, he looks like, he looks
Today,
more like a
we
bodybuilder
did 5 200-meter sets
or
with
something.
him.
Like, doesn't
At the
he?
end of those 200-meter sets, we took a blood lactate measurement. What that can tell us is fundamentally how physiologically challenged is he being by performing at that intensity.
That's even crazier
As
because he's,
lactate's accumulating, it's getting higher and higher.
I feel like he's pulling more
That's when we're
weight
getting further away from his aerobic energy systems.
than your
Being able
average.
to
Look at,
focus
I mean,
on what's
yeah.
sustainable pace, what's going to be most fuelable is what's going to make him hopefully be successful in the world record attempt.
That's crazy, man. 3.
One of the challenges of doing it in Scotland
Per
is that
day.
he's going to probably be swimming in about 15 degrees water. The previous world record was set in 20 to 22 degree water. When you see most open water swimmers, they do have relatively high body compositions because A, that helps with buoyancy. The more buoyant you are, faster floats, but also just having a little bit of extra insulation, so when you're swimming, you're not losing as much heat, and just makes it a little bit more sustainable in terms of performance.
Interesting, okay.
So the goal for this is really simple. I'll swim with no breaks, no sleep, no touching land for as long as I possibly can.
Wow. Just open-ended like that. That's crazy, man. What? What? I'm really curious how big this lake is.
Loch Ness is an incredibly dangerous place. I think one of the biggest mistakes anyone can make on these waters is underestimating how fast the weather and the water conditions can change. It's not uncommon to be out in flat, calm conditions, and within 10 minutes, you're in waves up to 2 meters.
Wow.
Knowing what Ross has done before, I would say if anyone was going to challenge Loch Ness, I'd say Ross is probably one of very few people on the planet that could actually do it.
If anyone else had told me they wanted to try and go for this record in this body of water, I'd have thought they were joking. Near the edges, it could feel fairly warm, but as soon as you go over what people call the drop-off, it just shelves away, and with that, the water temperature just dives as well.
Look at what's ahead of him, and you
Oh
take Loch
my
Ness,
goodness.
the largest lake in the UK. That's not even been sort of swum around twice, and Ross is looking to do that 6 times. Now, of course, you go, well, yeah, but he swam around Great Britain. That was intermittent. This is a swim where there is no stopping.
Oh, that's the
going all
difference.
way around it, and other things need to be taken into account, like water temperature and things like that are going to be factors into this.
I'd like to look into his other swim too around Great Britain. That would be interesting. That's all. Man, I can't even imagine doing that. I wonder how long it took him.
Once that cold creeps into your bones, you know, that cold, that deep cold that sets in. But when you're in the water, your only choice is to keep going. That's it. And that's quite a scary thing.
Potentially 70 to 100 hours, as far as he goes, until either the lake, the weather, something else shuts him down. The thing that will be interesting to find out is where that shutdown point occurs.
Yeah, some chilly water. Oh man, yeah, some chilly water,
All
man.
the swims and everything that I do now, I always just if I can display a fraction of that stoicism that my dad sort of taught me, then that's kind of the legacy. The hardest thing, probably the most valuable thing as well.
I think it says a lot about who Ross is and what sort of person he is.
Ross is doing something that no one else has ever done before, so literally he's going into these dark waters not knowing what's going to happen.
Absolutely extraordinary. Going beyond what any human has ever done before. Just getting a last minute briefing.
How do your muscles work after that long? You know what I mean?
Really feeling like the water, getting a sense of the surroundings, temperature, pacing, and feeding strategies as well. The first 10 hours, I hope, are just a feeling out process.
He's decided to go with one better. And that's why.
Wow.
Ranger, this is Groot, over.
10 hours already? Wow.
Groot, this is Ranger, go ahead. He's just got a twinge of cramps. Just sort that out with a little bit of salt, over. Right, that's understood, over.
Dude, I can't imagine going swimming for
a good time.
an hour straight.
About 4 hours ago, I had a rogue brioche bun for breakfast, and we were swimming into 50 knots of wind. I was out. But then James has nursed me back to health. Support team's been amazing. I was in a bad way. I'm not even gonna lie. But now it's fine.
The breakdown of the nutrition is really simple. It's just 120 grams of carbohydrates every hour on the hour. That's basically the upper limits of what the human stomach can digest. So you want to optimally hit that just like clockwork.
Could James prepare another noodles for Ross and a French brioche?
You need to have that fuel. If you don't have the fuel, then it's game over.
So I don't have any experience with wetsuits.
Great. It was just my stomach. My stomach was like, "What are you doing?" But no, I'm just trying to. I know it's easy to talk about seasickness and stuff like that, but what a swimming pool!
Wow. How much warmer does a sweatsuit keep you compared to what you would be if you didn't have the wetsuit on?
Me and my mum, we had a bit of a moment where we looked at each other and was like, this feels a little bit like a dad swim.
Dude, I can imagine just swimming in the dark, like, wow, dude.
Everything has become significantly harder as the light's gone, so navigating, like seeing Ross, when you look out you have to really look for him. You know, we're over 12 hours now, 13 and a half hours in. Just a case now of a long slog in the dark.
Going to go across now and then down more, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to come up and we're going to go back on the north shore. When it starts raining, be happy, because that's when the rain stops, the wind stops.
I'm already wet.
You know, if you go into a night swim in a bad mood, you can come out in a terrible mood, and it's knowing that the mind is almost like an untamed horse. It's so powerful, and if you can tame it, that's great, but if you let it run wild, then, not to sound too dramatic, but it kind of will destroy you. You know, the swim will come collapsing down from the inside, basically.
Mm.
There's your drink.
What is that thing right there?
Yeah.
That thing he's carrying.
It's open for you.
I can't remember what that was.
All right, go turn clockwise.
People had those on the channel swim as well. 21 hours, dude. How? I'll never understand how this is possible. It's just, how do you remove the lactic acid from your muscles?
How are we doing?
Yeah, good bro, how are you?
How do you have that much endurance?
We're still out here, we're still going.
I can't actually string any swims together. There was no schedule, but I had a schedule and I'm way behind it. So what should have been a 60-hour swim is now turning into 100 and beyond.
That's goodness. What do you say to this, dude? It's just insane, man. I can't imagine. It's just, how do people do stuff like this?
I think tonight's going to be a real test of whether the water temperature is going to be the thing that really makes this the toughest thing he might ever have done, to be honest. And it's definitely having an impact on our man. He's feeling it, and it's hurting.
Beyond 24 hours, that's when things start getting a little bit cheeky. So
beyond 24
36 hours in, start hallucinating as sports scientists.
Try beyond an hour or two, man.
The cognitive decline at that
fitness,
point is
dude.
so steep. Like you're really not thinking straight, and you're almost swimming through syrup at that point. Everything's just slowing down.
I can imagine.
I would never ever bet against Ross. He's surprised me so many times. When you think, you know, that's not possible for a human to do, he does it. So
I can't even
put any odds against him. But I think this is definitely a critical night, and it's going to be a long one.
I can't even understand how he keeps on lifting his arm up. I mean, like, you imagine how tired his shoulders would be at this point?
If ever I had an issue with anything, I would just always go to him for anything and everything.
It's crazy.
And now he's no longer here. I sort of find myself trying to make sense of the world without him. I think for so long I was just an athlete. So I just wanted to win. I just wanted records, I wanted trophies. It was very extrinsic, my form of motivation. And it's only now, seeing my dad's legacy, that if I could achieve a fraction of that, then that's a life well spent, trying to aim for that.
That's nice, man. Nice tribute to your dad. 40 hours.
Basically, we're on a bit of a mission to kind of keep everything efficient and try and get Ross to Fort Augustus by sunrise. That's the idea, anyway.
You good? Away.
Hey guys, it's 1:30 in the morning out here. In the darkness of the night, Ross has started hallucinating. He stopped about 15 minutes ago to ask if anyone else can see the dog. The medic's going to get a list of questions for us to ask him just to check his mental state. But,
man.
Yeah, he started seeing things out here in the night.
It would be remiss to sort of ignore the fact that no human has ever done what he's looking to do. That with that comes, risk. It is easy sometimes
hypothermia
to fall into assuming everything's okay because he's this high energy, super positive character, and so it probably does rely on the support team around him to be going, actually, is this a good decision for Ross? Is this good for Ross? Is this time now to sort of say stop?
Out of 5. Well, I mean, I know everything that's wrong.
How are you feeling?
Say for the first time on this trip so far, Damo the medics had to come into play, just making sure we're checking in on Ross's cognitive function, checking his memory, checking his response to questions, and checking his temperature. But all signs so far are still good. Despite a couple of minor hallucinations, Ross is lucid, switched on, and not hypothermic, which is great news for everyone, especially for Ross.
That's great.
Ross! Just come out from the side a little bit. Bring a little bit out. Come to us. Yeah, just come out. Are they rocks there? There's no rocks. Okay. There's the mountains. Very big rocks. There are rocks there. There's loads of rocks. No, you're good. Are you sure? Yeah, promise you. Yeah. Oh, got the biggest ulcer.
It's been 2 years now since my dad passed away, and the whole experience just shifts your barometer as to what you think suffering is. That I'll be out there 48 hours in, cold, trench foot, tongue falling off, and stuff, and it's just like it's not suffering. It's not, it's not in the scheme of things. In comparison, somebody who's bedridden, terminal cancer, they would 100% put themselves in my shoes.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's a great way to think of that.
It's all relative, and when you've actually seen that with somebody like you care about and love, you go,
yeah,
this isn't that hard.
That's true. Sometimes you got to get your perspective right.
Boats is remarking, it's crazy that we've
We've done shifts, we've taken turns, we've had meals. Some people have gone off to have a shower and a sleep for a few hours. Every time you look across, you look at Ross, who's been doing stroke after stroke after stroke, non-stop, no break, no sleep, no rest. Since 9 a.m. 2 days ago now. It puts it all in perspective, and it's pretty humbling, to be honest.
If I could ever do anything in my chosen sport with the skills that I have, which, like I said, is floating and eating, that'd be really cool. Yeah, it would just. It sounds really cheesy, but like in so many ways, Dad just showed me how to live and how to die. And I don't want that last bit to sound morbid, but when he died, he left such a legacy, and then ultimately that's going to come to all of us. And if you can turn around and go, the world's a bit of a better place because I was in it, then that's wicked.
I like this guy. He seems really cool.
How was your second night?
I've lost track of time. Is it the second night tonight?
Just finished.
Oh! Genuinely lost track of time. If I sound funny, it's because I've got so many ulcers in the inside of my mouth.
Oh.
And whatever's in Loch Ness isn't entirely clean. So there's all sorts going on.
Oh man.
That is Ross's unique characteristic, is no matter how hard it gets, he always sees the positive.
It's thrown so many curveballs. Loch Ness is amazing, but I mean, what started out as a meticulously planned swim has just. Oh, hang on, sorry, Chris.
He will look out at 4 a.m. and be glad that the stars are out, even though that makes it 5 degrees colder. He will be grateful for any number of things that a normal person would turn around and see as a negative. Ross will turn it. I don't think he even turns it. It just is a positive to him. I think he's an endlessly positive person.
Oh, that was a bit on my tongue. Oh, sorry. Who's here? What started out as a meticulously planned swim has had so many curveballs thrown at it, and I mean that's the nature of adventure swimming. But
and where many athletes try and train that to become that positive person, I think Ross just has it built into him.
Started off with
that's awesome.
A rogue brioche bun that just flipped my stomach upside down, and then we swam into the night in 20 knots of wind, and that combination was not good. So the first 6 hours were ropey, and now we're playing catch up, and that's fine, but it's no longer a swim. It's a war of attrition. You know, it's I said in one of my books that resilience is suffering strategically managed, and that's exactly what we're doing now.
I like that.
See ulcers inside lining of your mouth, coming out, chafing, sleep deprivation. I keep speaking to people on the loch, and I'll go like, oh, I didn't know people let their dogs roam there. And they're like, there's no dogs there. I'm like, I swear I could see dogs. So the body and the mind are malfunctioning, basically. It's got a rough start. Everything's now been pushed back, and realistically, could be 72, could be 100, but mission brief.
I think anything that we can offer him is going to be purely like a placebo effect.
So beautiful, dude.
Tell him that it might work, it might buy some time, but fundamentally, you know, he's here for a 4-day swim, and it's going to hurt, he's going to suffer, and yeah, he's not got a chance to heal. but we're going to come to a point where there's just nothing left to try. He's going to have to accept that it's going to hurt. Over.
If I were to ask you just to sit in that chair for 72 hours and not fall asleep, I can 1,000% guarantee you will fail. And to think that you're going to go out and fuel your body and dive into that water and just non-stop, stroke after stroke after breath after breath, just keep going for 72 hours is absolutely insane. It would drive you insane if someone forced you to do it. But no one's forcing Ross to do this. He's willingly doing this. And I just think that it's just bonkers. It's Ross. It's Ross all over.
Hey guys, so the medics had to call it. He was basically going off a cliff edge down into hypothermia. He stopped being able to swallow at all and was struggling really to breathe.
Oh, wow.
Through his airways, and if you can't get the fuel in, if you can't get the calories in, and certainly if you can't get enough oxygen in, you know, your body is just going to lose temperature so fast, and all the signs were there that was happening. So it was a pretty quick, pretty brief discussion between Ross and Damo, and they pulled Ross out of the water.
Wow. I mean, that's a crazy thing to attempt. I spent 53 hours in Loch Ness before his swim was terminated on medical grounds. He spent the next 4 days in hospital on a drip, suffering with kidney failure. Wow. A severe case of cellulitis and was on multiple antibiotics for the following week. Oh, my goodness, dude. What he must have put his body through during that is just insane, man. For the longest swim in Loch Ness. Hey, man, he still got it.
I don't want to say grateful for the time to reflect, but with nothing else to do but be hooked up to a drip and sort of fed antibiotics, it really allowed me to just deconstruct what had just happened. It was quite, I mean, it was a heavy experience because I was actually put in the cancer ward as well. I'm sitting there in this cancer ward speaking to these just amazing people who, despite everything's against them, they're still just so stoic. And it was in that moment I just realised I'm probably going to walk out of here as soon as the antibiotics kick in, cellulitis is under control. Some of them might not. And that was so, like I said, it was heavy, it was humbling, and it just makes you realise that as much as you think you're suffering, or even other people think you're suffering, you're not. Like there are people far worse off. And I think knowing that, again, that barometer of suffering, it just it's humbling, but it can make you incredibly grateful as well. Like as hard as this was, and although I've still got scars from this swim, I'm so grateful that I got to walk out of it, because like I said, some other people, they don't. To be honest with you now, there's times I was in a bad way, but we were doing social media live events, and as soon as the camera was on me, I was like, now you have to talk about charity elements. Like that's what you got to do, to put aside everything else. And I think that's something that I think upon reflection, that's what Dad would have probably been so happy about. You spoke so well, you handled the event really well, you made everybody feel welcome, you're very polite, and at the end probably wouldn't have cared about distance, swum, duration in the water, but it's just how you handle yourself. And I think that's why even now I look back on this swim quite fondly, because as I sort of mature and get a little bit older, the sort of metrics of success aren't just distance and duration, but what impact did you have on everybody? You know, what have you produced and what did you put out into the world? It's not a record, it's not a distance, time, it's something else. So I think there's that, which only now I'm beginning to understand what my dad meant all the time ago.
He did not look like a human being. He looked like a gargoyle off the side of a, Notre Dame or something. The man was literally grey,
Wow.
His skin looked like it was made out of stone.
No one's done what Ross has done here, and I don't think anyone ever will replicate what Ross has done here.
I can't imagine.
He didn't achieve what he was set out to do, but nobody can.
Yeah, I think it's impossible.
Swim that length.
At least right now.
In here. You can't.
Maybe
do
one
it.
day, but I doubt it.
I think so often an adventure gives you what you need, not necessarily what you want. What I mean by that is what I wanted to do was to break records for the longest a human's ever swum with records and metrics. But what I probably needed to learn was some humility, purpose, and what's important in life. I know that sounds quite cheesy, but I think
it's true, right?
Yeah, like I said, on this particular adventure, I certainly didn't get what I wanted, but upon reflection, I think I got what I needed.
You know, swim around Great Britain, swim the Channel 2 in a log, push a mini for a marathon. You know, there's just one of many absolutely fucking ridiculous things that Ross, the Labrador, Edgley, does in his life.
Wow, guys, this was incredible. I don't want to make this too much longer, so I just want to say, because this is a fairly long video as it is, I might have to cut something to make it shorter. But this guy, I never knew who he was, but I love his mindset. He's so positive. He's so stoic. He talks about stoicism on here, which I really like that. It's something I've studied a little bit, and this guy is very motivational. He would make a great motivational speaker. I heard he says something about his books. I'm about to look into his books. Like I said, I never knew who he was, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him because he seems like someone, even if you're not into swimming or something, he seems like someone that has some valuable tips for living life to offer. But I'm curious. He kept on talking about his father, right? And how his father, you know, it sounded like his father was some sort of an athlete or something as well. Let me know in the comments, guys. Was his father a famous athlete or something? I might have to go look him up too. But anyways, guys, like I said, I don't want to make this too long as it is, fairly long as it is. But thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. This was absolutely amazing. I hope to be able to check out some more interesting feats like this. So if you have anything you think I'd like to check out, such as this, whether it's swimming or some other really just crazy, insane feat that someone did in the UK or Ireland or whatnot, please let me know in the comments, guys. But until next time, peace.